The French president has pulled a surprise move at the G7, inviting the Iranian Foreign Minister in a move that could blindside Donald Trump. The US president offered a no comment when asked if he knew about the arrival, which comes amid heightened tensions between the US and Iran. The issue of Iran was raised in the talks between Scott Morrison and Donald Trump.
Australia has been invited just as an observer to this G7, but it was someone not invited at all that got the headlines this afternoon. Confirmation the Iranian Foreign Minister flew into Biarritz at the invitation of the French President Emmanuel Macron. It's a bold political move considering relations between the US and Iran. Donald Trump, when asked about it, gave a stern no comment. As for Scott Morrison, also not giving much away as to whether or not he knew about it and whether or not he'd meet with the Foreign Minister.
Did you know he was going to be coming there?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Would you
now that he is coming, would you meet him?
We have already had engagements with the government of Iran in relation to our most recent announcement, and that's where those engagements need to take place.
Scott Morrison has met briefly with Donald Trump as well in a pull-aside meeting. They did mention Iran. The PM says it was a straightforward conversation that simply covered Australia's commitment in the Strait of Hormuz. The PM also said, yes, of course, trade did come up in this tit-for-tat trade war between the US and China. And Scott Morrison has sympathy for Donald Trump on that matter. He was asked whether the ends justifies the means.
You can't just sort of brush these issues aside forever. They have to be dealt with. And we obviously want to see that happen as well.
So did you push for that in your conversation? Did you ask Trump if there were opportunities to de-escalate the war with China?
Well, we basically want to see the matter resolved. Now, the US has legitimate interests that they wish to pursue as part of that trading relationship. It's not for us to dictate to them any more than it is to China.
Scott Morrison is going to meet with Boris Johnson as well for the first time. The two of them meeting as leaders. They're expected to talk about a trade deal and another now tricky topic for the PM.
I'm sure they'll give me a hard time about the fact that they clipped us in the latest Ashes, which many of you from other countries wouldn't have the faintest idea what I'm talking about, but the Australian journalists and the British journalists will know very, very well. But I'm looking forward to having a conversation around a whole range of issues with the Prime Minister tomorrow, and to wish him well.
It's not an ambitious G7 with no communique here. That was decided by the French President before it was held. Perhaps he knew he was going to invite the Iranian Foreign Minister, and it might have been for the best.